We have a lot to do, but you don't have the dog you thought you had.
Like I said, today was an eye-opener for us to know it is possible. We just have to work with it and just be careful, but it was incredible.
This dog came to me for aggression. Watch the video to see if this dog is going to be playing with or going at other dogs by the end of it, and learn how you can do it with your own dog.
We don't think she's socialized at all.
You think it's fear-based?
Well, it's partially fear, but I mean, there is obviously aggressiveness, but she's so high prey driven too. Like,
watch your step.
Any little movement of any sort of animal sets her off. It triggers her.
Okay.
She wants to just kill anything that moves. Lately, she has been coming into her own where she's marking, she's scratching the ground. That's all new, like within the last few months.
Do you think she would ever turn and nip you or turn and bite you?
She has redirected. So we have our neighbor dog, yeah, who she has fought through with the fence, and whenever we try to pull her away, she has redirected to us before.
She doesn't like any dogs.
Yep. Okay, keep
she's
going.
whining.
Okay, keep going.
She's never been nose to nose with another dog before.
Well, I like firsts. Is that your friend? Is that your friend? You are going to get fully peed on. Which isn't bad for a dog like her. Oh, she's going to mark over it. She's the boss. Okay, bring her back.
She wants to. Did you see her try to scratch?
Oh, I didn't see that. The mark was enough for me. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We are going to go. Here, let me see her, please. Sit. Good girl. Okay, let's see your friend. Prince. Prince. You like him? You like him? Is he your friend? Is he your friend? Is he your friend?
She's trying to avoid, because I think she knows that she's not allowed to look at other dogs.
It happens, but it generally happens with like e-collars, that behavior. That behavior almost never happens without an e-collar. But it could happen with prongs to some degree. It could happen with a real hard correction on a choker, I suppose. Yes, that's your friend. Okay, we're gonna go me on the leash, muzzle on, Prince out. Now, the muzzle's not the best thing. It keeps everyone safe, but it's a weird stimulus. So we're not gonna see her normal behavior, but we're gonna see close to it. I'm ready, let's go. Cap, look. Let him out. Yes. Oh, he's marking over your mark. He's a nice boy. Good girl. What a nice girl you are. Oh my goodness. Well, you guys.
Was that a play bow?
I'm not saying we have a lot to do, but you don't have the dog you thought you had.
This is a very interesting session with a dog that the owners thought was super aggressive. Their old trainer also thought she was super aggressive. You're going to see a lot of body language, her meeting a bunch of dogs, being good with most of them. You're also going to see my process. Now, what I want you guys to learn from these videos, this video in particular, but you've seen a lot of videos like this, is the process that I use for dogs meeting other dogs. And it is sometimes fences, sometimes muzzles, sometimes leashes, sometimes all of them. Why don't I just use a muzzle, a leash, and a fence with every possibly reactive dog? Because it's too much. It's too many things. They all have their drawbacks. Sometimes a muzzle is better than a leash. Sometimes a fence is better than muzzle. Sometimes Prince on a leash coming out is better. Sometimes the dog the reactive dog off leash and Prince on leash is better. My process has been refined to be what I think is a very, very good process. And the proof's in the pudding. In 15 years, knock on wood, we've been successful. No dogs have ever gotten hurt. And we're getting aggressive dogs off of muzzles, off of leashes, and not meeting through fences. But they have to show us that they can do it and not be aggressive while using those tools. And you should be using those tools. Again, not all of them, but you should pick and choose. Do I use a fence? Do I use a leash? Do I use a muzzle? Or all of them? And then you fade those things out very quickly once you learn the nature. So I'm learning the nature of this dog right now. You know the nature of this dog right now. You just know it. Even if you don't know dogs, look how great this is. There's a trigger right there. Him smelling and licking her ear. That's kind of a bold move. And she loved it. She didn't care. There's a lot going on between these two. It isn't just like. There is this. She is spayed. That doesn't mean she's still not a female. And no, she's a female. And no, he's a male. There's a lot going on. Now the muzzle's off. Why? Because we can take the muzzle off. Now, why am I not ready to take the leash off? Because I don't know her enough. The owners were like, she's super aggressive. So there could be a trigger that still triggers her. Although I highly doubt it. What has it been? A couple minutes of her meeting Prince. Already she's darn near perfect. What would the trigger be? It could be she has a prey drive. You heard that at the beginning, right? It could be him sprinting and she just triggers her and she goes and nips him. It could be her being pet by the owner and Prince comes up. Those are two big triggers that we haven't seen yet. So I'm like, okay, we don't want her totally off leash yet. I need more control. He is basically in love with this dog. They like each other a lot. This dog's gonna meet a lot. Look how good she is. Look how good she is. Now, he is an unneutered male. So we have to meet female dogs. We have to meet small dogs. We have a lot of work to do. But this dog, as you'll hear at the end, the owner say she's just never met a dog. They've tried. They went to a trainer. The trainer it was some harsh methods that they weren't cool with. But they've tried a lot of things. But the dog needs to get with dogs, obviously. So now we're going to go meeting Connery. Why Connery? You guys have seen this dog. He's good. He's big. I can't trust him as much as I trust Prince, but I trust him a lot. He's with us a lot. He's in a way a helper dog at this point. Owner travels a lot, so Connery's with us. But he's also big and strong and could probably whoop a dog pretty good. So we got to be a little more careful than we are with Prince. But he's the closest thing to Prince, right? He's not a little rabbit-like dog that she's going to chase. He's big, he's strong, he is neutered. That's where I think she might like him a little less. But he's a male. So we're going, and this is what you should do in your own life. Go from your friend's dog who's the greatest dog ever to your friend's dog who's not quite as calm as that one. If you have a female, I would go meet a male first and then a female second. So the third dog out, I think, is going to be a female. Then we need to just go through these dogs. So Matt Connery, now back to Prince. We're going to let Connery out in a minute, and then we're going to let Connery off the leash because she's so good with Connery. Now, she just needs to meet other dogs. Look at, there's normal smelling spots. There's the eyes, the mouth, the ears, and the genitals. Then there's the side of the dog. When dogs smell like the side of the dog or the legs of the dog, it means the dog has not met a lot of dogs. So right there, she was like smelling the legs. That's a dog who hasn't met a lot of dogs. We put the muzzle back on just for obvious reasons. Connor's not my dog. We got to be careful. Muzzle back on. Just meetings. Hold Connery like that so she can just kind of have access to smell him. Look, smelling the front of him. It's a weird spot to smell. Now here's a trigger. Owners petting Connery. That's a trigger for some dogs. She is great with it. She does not care. She just doesn't care. Sometimes dogs go, no, that's my daddy. I'm going to get in there. She doesn't care. Awesome. So we're checking off triggers, okay? The two triggers that we didn't get to because we just needed so many dogs. Meeting dogs was more than seeing triggers for this dog. And we just had to rotate through dogs, which you're going to see all of them, or I think you'll see all the dogs she meets. We want to check, and you want to check off triggers. Trigger would be the dog going over top of her. The trigger would be the dog running. A trigger would be her being pet by the owner while a dog comes up. That's a big trigger, okay? Meeting a female. So this is her first female. Okay, is she as happy with as she was with Connery and Prince? Probably not. That could be because it's the third dog. It's just not as fun anymore. Or it could be because it's a female. Okay, more trigger stuff. Dog being pet by the owner, she doesn't care. That's just not a trigger. We can check it off the list. Dog doesn't care. Don't have to worry about that. Okay, another female. Now we're going smaller with the dogs. So this is the smallest dog we have right now. It's not a small dog. Another female, and then we're going to let her out in a minute too. She's doing great. This dog just needs to meet dogs. And that's what a lot of my sessions, people come to me for basic obedience. People come to me for separation anxiety. People come to me for everything. You name it, they come for it. But and for many years, it has been, I need my dog to meet dogs in a controlled environment. And that's what's happening. The most bang for their buck is rotating through dogs. Okay, we have the muzzle back on just to keep dogs safe. She's a strong dog, American Bulldog, right? Strong. She has, and there is an aggression history there. So we do need to be careful. But she looks good. Now, each dog, she's getting a little less, like, I don't care that much, which is good. Now, these guys are buying them, smelling. All we want is smelling. All we want is smelling, okay? These guys are the dog's meeting dogs and they're learning about their dog. They're also buying an insurance policy. If a dog runs out to them, they're going to go, oh, at Beckman's. She's going to think, oh, at that place, I met a bunch of dogs. Now this dog's running out to me. And so I just don't care. Now, German Shepherd, why did I let the German Shepherd out just for a minute? Dogs react to German Shepherds. They react to Huskies way more. It's the hair around the head. Now, we saved this dog for the end, right? He's a little more standoffish. This is the only dog that she is going to bark at, and she's going to get a correction for it. He growls at her. Now, just because a dog growls at you doesn't mean you can go back at the dog. Just because somebody looks at you wrong in the supermarket doesn't mean you can punch them. So it's going to happen right about here. So the dog's growling a little bit. You can't hear it, obviously. And he's going to, a hard stare from both of them. She looks great, though. Look how good she looks. Tail's wagging. I mean, she's looking at him. She's definitely like, and then he goes, and then I give her a correction. Okay? Yeah, he barked at you. But I also didn't, it was a little correction. You're fine. Can't bark at a dog just because it barks at you. Or you shouldn't. That's the world we live in. I didn't make the rules. That's just the world that we live in. So then I want to get them back together as soon as possible. They don't. He doesn't really want to come up to her. But try to get them back together and meet your friend again. And she's over it. But she also got a little correction for going at a dog. Because that's what they're there for. Meeting dogs, good. Oh, we bring him out. I forgot about that. So he's going to come out. They're going to kind of avoid each other. You're going to see it right here. A lot of avoid, but it's good for this dog too to just be out and meeting dogs. So they don't really care about each other. So what you guys should do in your own life, use a fence, okay? And, but leashes are bad. Here's why leashes are bad. Leashes are bad when they're tight. When your reactive or aggressive dog is meeting dogs and the leash is tight, if you can use the leash in a way that it's loose, that the dog doesn't feel it, you're essentially not using a leash. Leashes get this horrible rep for meeting because the leash is tight. Why do you think all my methods are about a loose leash? Now, it sometimes has to be almost tight because you got to pull the dog away. But through a fence, you don't. You see me do it with Prince all the time. Go up, loose leash, go meet the dog. Now, there's fence fighting, so fences aren't perfect either. But what are you, ready to just let your aggressive dog with another dog? And then muzzles are muzzles. So now you're going to go some original audio. They need to bring the dog out to places, and that's what we're going to do right here. Girl. Hopefully the nickel good. Good girl. That's our good girl. That's our good girl. That's our good girl. Yeah. Yeah. Then the talking is just like, but I'm chill as a cucumber. I look calm. I am calm. Sometimes I'm not calm and I just have to act like I look calm. I might shake your shoulders out. If I'm sitting, I'm just relaxed. Bring Rebel, like right here, please. And then we'll be done. Shorten that leash. Bring her over. Shorten it, bring her over. Good. A little closer.
Like I said, today was an eye-opener for us to know it is possible. We just have to work with it and just be careful, but it was incredible.